Our team coverage continues with morning anchor Erica Gonzalez. She's at the news desk with reaction to the indictment from both Cuban leaders and South Florida. Erica.
Naja, Cuban leaders are blasting the indictment, calling what they say is the latest form of escalation by the U.S. a despicable act. So here's Cuba's Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs speaking just last night on CTV. Take a listen.
And it is fraudulent because it is an accusation that has no legal basis, no political basis, nor any moral basis. And it must be seen as part of the growing, aggressive escalation we have seen throughout this year on part of the United States against Cuba.
So he also said the indictment is especially alarming given Washington's history of using criminal charges to justify military action against sovereign states. He added that Cuban officials charged were fulfilling a duty to protect the country's airspace. Meanwhile, back here in South Florida, many Cuban-Americans say this is a moment they thought they would never see. Local Cuban-Americans believe this indictment is a step in the right direction. We actually heard from Anthony Rodriguez. He says he's a former federal officer who actually worked with the 4 men killed in that shoot-down 30 years ago.
There's no reason for all these number of years have gone by without justice, that should have taken place years ago. And finally, I'm glad to see these indictments.
That is how Cuba could be free in a month.
Several people told us that they wish that their parents and even their grandparents would have lived to see this moment, and they hope that one day soon they can safely return to Cuba. At the news desk, Erica Gonzalez, CBS News, Miami.
Erica, thank you. Stay with CBS News Miami for continuing coverage of the indictment of Raul Castro. We will keep you updated on air, online, and on the CBS News Miami stream.
St. Maarten is scaling back on Flag Day celebrations this year due to budgetary constraints. Minister of Education, Sports, Youth and Culture, Melissa Gums, at the Council of Ministers press briefing on Wednesday, outlined the reasons for the decision.
A significant portion of our budget is legally and structurally committed to education, including the subsidies required to support the operation of schools. This means that the discretionary space available for national events, incidental subsidies, and other important initiatives has become increasingly limited. In light of these realities, the ministry has had to make difficult but necessary adjustments. These decisions, however, are not taken lightly. They are made with the understanding that every guilder spent must be carefully considered, and that the ministry must find more creative and cost-conscious ways to meet its responsibilities. For Flag Day 2026, this means that instead of hosting the traditional full public program, the ministry will be pivoting to a more digital, symbolic, and community-centered celebration. The formal program will include contributions from school children, including messages from students who would ordinarily have participated in the Flag Day parade, a symbolic flag hoisting component, a short media feature on the history and significance of Flag Day, and recorded messages from national officials. I myself will also be present at the schools that were scheduled to participate in the parade to observe and celebrate the day with our students.
The minister said the decision should not minimize the importance of celebrating Flag Day.
But let me be very clear. Scaling back the official government program does not mean scaling back our national pride. Flag Day, and indeed every national day, belongs to the people of St. Maarten. It belongs in our schools, in our homes, in our communities, on our cars, in our businesses, on our boats, and in the conversations we have with our children about who we are, where we come from, and what it means to help build this country. This decision to scale back the official portion of the national observance is not unusual, nor is it unique to St. Maarten, particularly in these very challenging global economic times. For example, in 2022, the government of Tanzania canceled its official Independence Day celebrations due to budget challenges for other critical projects, choosing to divert those funds to youth-related initiatives. That decision did not stop the people of Tanzania from marking and celebrating their Independence Day. Last year, the government of Trinidad and Tobago canceled their official Independence Day celebrations due to budget concerns. And while that news frustrated the population, it did not stop the people of Trinidad and Tobago from celebrating their Independence Day.
She called on locals to take ownership of their national celebrations, similar to expats who live on St. Maarten.
But the governments of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Guyana and Dominica, Aruba, etc. aren't the ones planning these Flag Day celebrations in St. Maarten. The persons who find their roots and bloodlines from those countries come together, buy their flags, request their permits, plan their logistics, and make it a point, year after year, to mark their Flag Day. because they know what we cannot seem to comprehend. Culture is not something driven only by government. And while that may sound harsh, I say it less as criticism and more as a wake-up call to action, and as an example. It shows what happens when people take ownership of their culture and make a conscious decision to celebrate who they are. That is the spirit I want to encourage among us as St. Martiners and as residents of this country.
St. Martin's Flag Day is celebrated annually on June 13th to commemorate the date the island's official flag was ratified by the Island Council.
The Barbados Coalition of Service Industries has been charged with creating a roadmap with a view to establishing a stronger services sector. Minister Simmons says this will form part of a cabinet paper with the intent to increase the budget as one of the driving forces of sustainable growth in Barbados.
Key to having a stronger services sector, ladies and gentlemen, in my judgment, this is where I'm going with the cabinet paper, is the Coalition of Service Industries. As I had said before we started, I feel it is an indispensable part of the process, and it really must become, George, the primary vehicle through which we achieve what we want to achieve in terms of growth. I am projecting that I can take this to Cabinet and make a robust case about how we can transform the BCSI from being a representative and perhaps facilitating agency into really being an executing engine.
Further, Minister Simmons says there must now be an overall reshape of the policy's architecture, noting there is no better entity placed to identify the productive capacity of the sector than the BCSI.
You are now excellent at business support, but really and truly, you are not executors. You're not the executing agency that I believe you have the capacity to be. Well, and this is one of the things, it may well be that we need not only legislative backing, we may also need better financial support. But we're not going to get there unless we can convince the cabinet that this is where we have to go. And this is why I'm saying to you, I want to give you the strategic roadmap that we can work on together.
However, Mr. Simmons says this can only work if there is the buy-in from all Barbadians. Minister Simmons says within 2 years, they should be able to return to the table. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Mommy, you think I could talk to the therapist you work for?
Say what now?
I feel like you're not the woman I thought you were. Can't you understand that? The way I covered you. The way I believed in you.
Nah, what you been up to?
You mean since getting out of prison?
What kind of doctor are you anyway? What kind of doctor are you anyway?
Coming to Caribbean Cinemas St. Kitts, May 30th and 31st at 7 p.m.
music experience returns. Welcome to the 28th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival, featuring the incredible Kilani, Fantasia, Beres Hammond, Luciano, Soca King Marshall Montano, Soca Sensation Voice, and Vaughn. Dancehall giant Movado, Idonia, and the new wave, Valiant. Also featuring Massacre, Cranium, Taurus Riley, Steel Pulse, Dean Fraser and the Black Soil Band, Shanil Mir, Diani, Rodney Tatat, and Zoo. The legendary New Vibes Band International, Brandon and ASAP Band, Shelly and Signal Band, plus Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Raul Castro and Garlic and the Upper Level Band. June 25th to June 27th, Warner Park Cricket Stadium, St. Kitts. Get your tickets now at stkittsmusicfestival.com. The St. Kitts Music Festival, where music meets paradise.
Welcome to Channel Links, your most reliable shipping agent. Shopping online sometimes can be challenging, especially when trying to get the best deals from China. But with Channel Links, they make it easy and simple for you, the shopper. With agents working with them for over 20 years, Channel Links offers the best in supplier screening to ensure background checks are done on online merchants, so you know you're shopping with genuine sellers. They handle freight forwarding. No cargo is too big or small for their shipping services, shipping from their warehouses in China directly to your final destination. And get this, they offer door-to-door and port-to-port services as well. So, whether you are ordering from AliExpress, Alibaba, and other Asian shopping sites to cash in on affordable prices at the best quality, shipping from China to the Caribbean, your best and only option is Channel Links, located in St. Maarten, with shipments also to St. Kitts and Nevis. For more information, call or WhatsApp 1721-554-4802, 1721-526-4766, 1721-581-6968, or 1721-580-4834. Or email contact_us at channel-lynx.com. Channel Links, your shipping solution.
Lace your sneakers, grab a friend, and get ready for Praise Fest 2026, the Federation's premier gospel concert, in collaboration with St. Kitts Music Festival. Join us on the Antioch Baptist Church grounds as we praise with Tehillah Gospel Band, Unique Touch Christian Center Praise, Brent Hoyt, Positive, and Chevel Franklin. Earthen Vessels will start it off with praise and worship. This all goes down June 21st, 2026, starting at 5:30 p.m. on the Antioch Baptist Church grounds. Secure your tickets at Sister Beverly on 4th Street, Westside Service Center, The Cable, Island Flavors, Charlestown, Nevis, or any member of the Antioch Baptist Church. Or you can go online at www.antiochbaptistskn.org. Islander Water Taxis providing $40 round trip from Nevis to St. Kitts. Be first in line for an unforgettable evening.
Nubian Griot, the People's Action Movement candidate for constituency number 2, Central Bastille, believes the SKN-LP-led government is frustrating persons who want to begin moving in the cannabis industry. While candidate Griot admits that some progress has been made, he points to the licensing situation and related issues that are inhibiting real progress towards cultivation, processing, and distribution of medicinal marijuana. According to Griot, the proverbial ball is being kicked down the road and is depriving potential participants from early adoption against competition. In a recent media conference, Griot expressed some of his concerns over the slow pace at which the government is proceeding.
To date, there is no cannabis license that has been given and no idea at all as to when they will be giving out any licenses. And so people have been making plans and people are being frustrated in terms of understanding what's going on in the industry. I mean, we started a small group of persons, interested persons, and when you look at what cannabis can bring in terms of foreign investment or direct input into St. Kitts in terms of dollars. We were looking at pre-COVID and after COVID, we were looking at like 1 million passengers, 1 million persons visiting St. Kitts on an annual basis. And even if you get a quarter of those persons to spend $100 I mean, that's $25 million there, close to 67 million EC dollars, right in the hands of farmers. And not only farmers per se, but you have persons who would make shirts or small trinkets that would benefit from this industry. As Mr. Coker says, a trickle-down effect directly into the hands of poor persons who actually need it. And it bothers me the way in which this government handles poor people in this country, because it's only poor people, well, here in St. Kitts, looking to make that sort of investment. We just kick the can down the road, lie to the people, fool the people over and over and over again. I mean, the process, the last thing you heard was, well, it's the banking system. Is it the banking system in St. Lucia? Is it the banking system in Antigua? Is it the banking system in Jamaica, St. Vincent, America, Canada? All those countries don't have any banking issues, but they're predicting that we're going to have banking issues here. Why? Allow the country to breathe, allow people to survive. Things are very, very, very hard. And it's even harder because of the poor fiscal management of this administration. And so we need to do better. We need to do better. We need to be able to put cannabis on the table, put agriculture in general on the table, diversify our economy, and allow our people the opportunities to survive here in St. Kitts, the land that they call home.
When Television Caribbean spoke with other individuals who want to be involved in the industry, they expressed disappointment in the stage achieved after the promising actions of supportive legislation and the opening of the Cannabis Secretariat. Glenn Bart reporting for Television Caribbean, TVC Channel 4.
Now to our coverage of Raul Castro indicted. The former president has been charged with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals. He is facing 4 counts of murder and 2 counts of destruction of aircraft. The indictment comes as the U.S. military announced that Nimitz carrier strike group is now in the Caribbean. A U.S. official tells the New York Times it will be used as a show of force, not as a platform for major military operations. The indictment is 30 years after the Brothers to the Rescue shoot-down. Questions still remain this afternoon, like will Castro be brought to the U.S. to face those charges in court? CBS News Miami's Maribel Rodriguez is your reporter live in West Miami-Dade with the latest. Maribel.
Well, Naja, that question still remains unanswered. Now, we're just outside the offices of the Assembly for the Cuban Resistance, where just a short time ago, they announced their latest international initiatives to prosecute criminals within the Castro regime. This comes just one day after that highly anticipated announcement of Raul Castro's indictment.
We are announcing an indictment charging Raul Castro and several others with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals.
19-page indictment accuses former Cuban President Raul Castro of charges for conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals, destruction of aircraft, and murder, along with 5 others listed in the indictment. For years, local lawmakers and Cuban activists have been collecting signatures to indict Raul Castro.
I thank God I lived to see that day. I think the indictment is essential to bring justice for the vicious massacre of these 4 heroes. I knew those men, I knew their quality, how committed they were to their Christian values and to saving lives.
One day after the announcement, the Assembly of the Cuban Resistance releasing the latest information on international initiatives to prosecute criminals within the Cuban government.
The Chilean Congress is about to vote on installing an international tribunal for crimes against humanity in Cuba. That's huge.
All this time back to the Castro regime, and now decades later, the Cuban exile community is hoping justice will be served. At the Freedom Tower on Wednesday was Armando Alejandre's daughter. He is one of the 4 victims on the 2 planes of Brothers to the Rescue that was shot down on February 24th, 1996.
It's not bringing anybody back, but I promise you that my father is happy in heaven along with the other 3 men.
And there is a warrant out for Raul Castro's arrest. Now, whether or not he will stand trial here in the U.S., well, that still remains unknown. But if he does, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. We're live in West Miami-Dade. Maribel Rodriguez, CBS News, Miami.
Senator Chanel Gavaya has returned as leader of government business. And in her congratulatory remarks to the newly sworn-in chamber, she made the case for the Senate as more than just a reviewing body. Gavaya pointed to 4 former senators on the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party side who contested and won seats in the lower house on the April 30th general elections.
This is the type of legacy and institution that the Antigua Barbuda Labour Party continues to build, because no doubt the members on this side has the potential that they could reach to the upper house. We have seen it from the last senators, Senator Dwayne, Senator Kiz, Senator Michael Joseph, Senator Michael Freeland. They all were here with us 4 weeks ago, and now they are in the lower house.
Attention also turned to the 1 Senate seat that remained vacant, the Barbuda Council's appointee.
I hope to see someone youthful as well and a woman occupy that seat, because I know Barbuda and I know firsthand that we have very effective and positive young women in Barbuda who can contribute in this house as well.
The Barbuda Council has not yet named this appointee. Until that seat is filled, the Senate sits with 16 of its 17 members. Samantha Simon, ABS News.
Mommy, you think I could talk to the therapist you work for?
Say what now?
I feel like you're not the woman I thought you were. Can't you understand that? The way I covered you. The way I believed in you.
Now, what you been up to? You mean since getting out of prison?
What kind of doctor are you anyway? What kind of doctor are you anyway?
Coming to Caribbean Cinemas St. Kitts, May 30th and 31st at 7 p.m.
Premier music experience returns. Welcome to the 28th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival, featuring the incredible Kilani, Fantasia, Beres Hammond, Luciano, Soca King Marshall Montano, Soca Sensation Voice, and Vaughn. Dancehall giant Movado, Idonia, and the new wave, Valiant. Also featuring Massacre, Cranium, Taurus Riley, Steel Pulse, Dean Fraser and the Black Soil Band, Shanil Mir, Diani, Rodney Tatat, and Zoo. The legendary New Vibes Band International. Brandon and ASAP Band, Shelly and Signal Band, plus Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Lucas HE, and Garlic and the Upper Level Band. June 25th to June 27th, Warner Park Cricket Stadium, St. Kitts. Get your tickets now at stkitsmusicfestival.com. The St. Kitts Music Festival, where music meets paradise.
Welcome to Channel Links, your most reliable shipping agent. Shopping online sometimes can be challenging, especially when trying to get the best deals from China. But with Channel Links, they make it easy and simple for you, the shopper. With agents working with them for over 20 years, Channel Links offers the best in supplier screening to ensure background checks are done on online merchants, so you know you're shopping with genuine sellers. They handle freight forwarding. No cargo is too big or small for their shipping services, shipping from their warehouses in China directly to your final destination. And get this, they offer door-to-door and port-to-port services as well. So, whether you are ordering from AliExpress, Alibaba, and other Asian shopping sites to cash in on affordable prices at the best quality, shipping from China to the Caribbean, your best and only option is Channel Links, located in St. Maarten, with shipments also to St. Kitts and Nevis. For more information, call or WhatsApp 1721-554-4802, 1721-526-4766, 1721-581-6968, or 1721-580-4834. Or email contact_us at channel-lynx.com. Channel Links, your shipping solution.
Lace your sneakers, grab a friend, and get ready for Praise Fest 2026, the Federation's premier gospel concert, in collaboration with St. Kitts Music Festival. Join us on the Antioch Baptist Church grounds as we praise with Tehillah Gospel Band, Unique Touch Christian Center Praise, Brent Hoyt, Positive, and Chevel Franklin. Earthen Vessels will start it off with praise and worship. This all goes down June 21st, 2026, starting at 5:30 p.m. on the Antioch Baptist Church grounds. Secure your tickets at Sister Beverly on 4th Street, Westside Service Center, The Cable, Island Flavors, Charlestown, Nevis, or any member of the Antioch Baptist Church. Or you can go online at www.antiochbaptistskn.org. Islander Water Taxis providing $40 round trip from Nevis to St. Kitts. Be first in line for an unforgettable evening.
Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown recently disclosed entering into discussions with the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and the European Union to partner in the geothermal project being developed on Nevis. According to Prime Minister Brown, the participation of Antigua and Barbuda in the geothermal project on Nevis enhances commercial viability while enabling Antigua and Barbuda to reduce its use of fossil fuels. Commenting on matters of energy during a radio talk show on Point FM, Prime Minister Brown indicated that Antigua could be connected to Nevis via an undersea cable.
If, for example, we had access to geothermal energy, and we're now in discussions, serious discussions with St. Kitts Nevis, to work with them to develop their geothermal capacity with understanding they can run a line from Nevis to Antigua, so we'll have base load power, and it'll be cheaper.
Brown also disclosed that additional financing from the European Union will be going towards the geothermal development in St. Kitts and Nevis. Glenn Bart reporting for Television Caribbean, TVC Channel 40.
In Guadeloupe, with a population of 400,000, there's nearly 40,000 firearms. That's one gun per 10 residents. This anti-crime brigade is tasked with tracking them down. Tonight, we get the opportunity to follow this patrol unit. A suspicious vehicle is identified. It's 3 a.m.
Viens. Putain. Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? C'est un revolver, ça doit être un Ruger, ça. Ouais. Combien de balles? 5. Il avait sur lui et quand il nous a vu, il l'a jeté sous la voiture. Tu t'assois. Assieds-toi, assieds-toi.
4 men are arrested between 17 and 20 years of age.
2007, t'es né où?
They swear to the police that the guns aren't theirs.
He just found it.
You don't really believe him?
No. When they say they just found it, we hear that every day. That's young people today.
He risks up to 10 years in prison and a 500,000 euro fine. The rampant use of firearms in Guadeloupe is wearing this French department down. There are seizures every 3 days. These are some of the firearms confiscated by authorities. Small pistols sold for 500 euros on the black market, but also automatic and semi-automatic rifles. We head out on another night patrol with the anti-crime squad. The police are responding to an armed robbery. The scene has quickly gotten out of hand. The gunshot victim in the ambulance is the first to be questioned.
Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé?
The police comb through the area to determine who fired the shots. What are you looking for?
We're looking for traces, clues, seeing if we can find cartridge cases on the floor.
One of the bullet casings is found. It's the second gunfight of the night and the fourth injury. For the police, it seems like there's no end to the fighting. It doesn't surprise you?
Unfortunately, I have to say no, it doesn't surprise me. Despite all our hard work to look for firearms, it continues.
Firearms that continue to injure and kill. In 2025, there were 32 gun-related deaths, an increase of 45% from the previous year. This map shows homicides in 2026. There are already 12 victims since the beginning of the year. On the archipelago, a quarter of the murders have been linked to drug trafficking. Some of the firearms transit through Marie-Galante. The authorities have granted us permission to film an inspection. What are you looking for?
Drugs, guns, bills.
And so far,
Nothing at all.
the guns are made in the United States or Brazil before heading to Dominica. From Dominica, they're sent to Marie-Galante, and from there, they take to the sea once again to flood into Guadeloupe. The Gendarmerie Water Patrol attempts to intercept the boat smuggling the guns.
Bonjour, il y a possibilité de monter à bord pour faire un contrôle, s'il vous plaît?
On board, the weapons could be hidden anywhere. The smugglers are apparently quite creative.
On sait pas ce qu'il y a dedans.
We don't know what's inside, so our primary role is to check that there's nothing taken or hidden underneath.
About 10 vessels were searched this morning.
On va faire un petit contrôle de l'embarcation.
From fishing boats to sailboats.
French police.
Okay.
But despite all their efforts, nothing was confiscated. A difficult but necessary task.
It's challenging, but if we don't do the job every day, we'll never find anything.
In the meantime, Guadeloupe is grieving its victims of gun violence. 66 families have been impacted in 2 years. In Les Abîmes, a mother and sister are mourning after the loss of Jessie Belvedere on October 7th of last year.
We're completely torn apart. Since the 7th, we can't even breathe. We're shocked.
When I speak to you, my heart starts pounding. Our world has been turned upside down.
Jesse was 23 years old, shot in the head while driving his car. This is the footage filmed the day after the tragedy. According to the prosecutor, he was killed by someone he knew. The motive, a romantic rivalry. His loved ones have all gathered together. Several generations are calling out the widespread use of guns on the archipelago.
It's not just about settling scores anymore, it's about everything and anything.
The insecurity is very real. No matter the person, you could have an altercation on the road and be shot simply because of that.
Jesse's sisters question their future in Guadeloupe.
How can we raise our children today on these islands? It doesn't make me want to have children. As a sister, it's already hard enough to go through this. As a mother, I can't even imagine.
The murder suspect has been arrested. Jesse's family is waiting for the trial. To cope with the armed violence, the authorities promise more funding for the police and gendarmerie.
Government agencies, civil society groups, and international partners gathered for the launch, highlighting migration's impact on national development, labor, border security, and social services. Officials say the policy aims to address issues such as brain drain, climate-related movement, labor shortages, and border management, while also creating opportunities through diaspora engagement and economic growth.
Possibly with what we could call migration governance indicators assessment that was conducted in 2023. And coming out of this, we have now achieved our draft migration policy in 2026. It's been a long journey. This long journey has been supported by many agencies. It's been a complex process, and I want to take the opportunity to thank all of the agencies who have made it possible.
International Organization for Migration officials praised St. Lucia's commitment to developing a migration framework tailored to the island's needs, describing the initiative as one of the region's leading examples of collaborative policy making.
You've been leading the efforts in the Caribbean on showing what developing a migration policy that is fit for purpose, that is forward-looking, you have demonstrated what it is. And I'm really happy to be able to be here for that. What we see right now, and we know that a policy is just the beginning of something else, which is the hard part, the implementation. But when it's well done, as it was done in St. Lucia, it really gives you an edge to be able to implement it.
The draft policy places strong emphasis on interagency collaboration and data sharing, with law enforcement officials noting that the consultation process revealed how migration information can better support national planning and security efforts.
The law enforcement person and hearing the different perspectives from the various stakeholders, it was an eye-opener. I recall some exchanges, and Ambassador Dubois just mentioned in terms of developing the policy and some of what we need to see in there versus what we can offer to our own nationals. And I recall Mr. Lick putting in some serious blows in terms of what it is that we're trying to do versus what it is that happens currently. So another part for me was the data that we actually collect at the port of entry. It never occurred to me how much we were capturing and how much we can share with other agencies until participating in this process.
The process brought together voices from across St. Lucia, including community groups, women's organizations, and vulnerable communities, helping shape a more inclusive policy framework.
Coordinating one of the discussions, the consultations down here, which was the consultation with the CCSO members and all NGOs and CSOs in St. Lucia. So in having to coordinate that, I actually got to know a lot more of the organizations in St. Lucia who function as NGOs and as CSOs, and bringing people into a room from all stratas of our country, from the farmers to people who represent women, who represent all parts of society, and sitting in a room and getting their perspectives, their lived perspectives on what immigration meant to them.
The next phase will involve cabinet review, possible legislative changes, and continued public engagement before the policy is formally adopted and implemented. For the DBS News World, I am Amanda King.
Grayson Burrell will be representing St. Kitts and Nevis at the Optimist North American Championship, a premier international youth sailing event sanctioned by the International Optimist Dinghy Association in Canada from May 21st to the 28th. Grayson departed the Federation on Wednesday, November 21st, alongside Lisbeth Burrell, Vice Commodore of the St. Kitts Yacht Club and team leader for the event, and Cuthbert Burrell for team support.
Grayson has been preparing right here at home during the weekends on Saturdays at the St. Kitts Yacht Club, and recently he attended the St. Bart's budget mini bucket, and he attended a clinic as well as a regatta. Grayson, given that he went to St. Bart's, this was the perfect environment for him. It was very shifty winds and high winds, as well as a different environment and with different international sailors as well. So this was perfect for what he's preparing for Canada.
Meanwhile, Grayson expressed confidence ahead of the event.
I'm very excited about this opportunity, and I'm happy that I'm able to go to this event. I think I'm quite ready for it. I've been training and practicing and going to other events to prepare. When I was younger, I used to go to summer camps, and I had fun sailing around on the water with the boats, and that's where it started, and now I'm doing it competitively. I would tell them that it's very fun and it's not scary at all. It's extremely fun, and that you can also meet a lot of people while doing it and gain a lot of friends.
Grayson Burrell will be competing among over 150 sailors at the event.